CEO stock option controversy, corporate greed and what it means for you. Explore the controversy behind CEO stock options, corporate greed, and why it impacts everyone beyond Wall Street in clear, casual terms. Why CEO stock options spark controversy and what it means for corporate greed. Alright, so imagine this. You're reading through your morning news, and again, there's a headline about a CEO making millions, not just from salary but from stock options. It sounds wild, right? And honestly, it is. But here's the kicker. This whole system of CEO stock options, while meant to align executives' interest with shareholders, often ends up feeding into what many see as corporate greed. Let me break it down for you because it's a little more layered than just rich CEO gets richer. Stock options basically give CEOs the right to buy company shares at a set price, usually much lower than the market price once the company is doing well. If the company's stock price goes up, they cash in. It's meant to motivate them to make the company perform better. But does it really work that way? First, the incentive issue. When a CEO's payoff depends largely on stock price, it can encourage short-term thinking. They might push for quick stock boosts, maybe through buybacks or cutting corners, rather than sustainable growth or investing in innovation. Second, the payout imbalance. While stock options can make a CEO's compensation skyrocket, sometimes into tens or hundreds of millions, a lot of workers barely see any raises or bonuses. This disconnect fuels the perception that the system rewards a tiny elite while leaving regular employees behind. Third, the controversies. We've all heard stories of CEOs gaming the system, timing stock option grants just before good news or using accounting tricks to boost earnings and stock value can turn what's supposed to be a performance reward into a casino game. It's not just bad optics, it's a real problem for investors and workers alike. Now you may wonder, is there any truth to the whispers of government conspiracy around how regulations favor companies in complex ways? Or is stock option abuse just one piece of the puzzle among other corrupt practices? While the topic is hotly debated, some experts argue that lax regulatory oversight enables loopholes that help CEOs and board members maximize their stock gains, sometimes at the expense of broader corporate health and public trust. And speaking of profits, let's pause for a moment on a related thought: the pharmaceutical industry. They're frequently criticized for their sky-high pharmaceutical profits, which many believe contribute to wider inequality and public health challenges. CEOs in these industries often receive enormous packages, partly justified by tough R&D risks, but everyone questions whether those enormous stock-based compensations are truly deserved or ethically sound. But hey, not all headlines or online chatter are accurate. There are always untrue allegations flying around, especially in the corporate world where misinformation can spread fast. Sometimes companies and their leaders are unfairly targeted, complicating what should be straightforward discussions about fairness, accountability, and corporate governance. So what can be done? There's an increasing push from shareholder activists and even some lawmakers for stricter rules. Ideas on the table include capping options, linking payouts to long-term performance metrics, or increasing transparency so shareholders and the public can really see where the money flows. At the end of the day, this controversy around CEO stock options is a classic example of the tension between capitalism's incentives and social fairness. It's something that affects you even if you're not on Wall Street because it shapes how big companies behave and how wealth is distributed. If you're interested in stories that weave corporate intrigue and ethical dilemmas into gripping narratives, you should check out The Ultimate Frame by Andrew M. Semple. It's a thrilling novel that really brings these kinds of themes to life in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking. Discover this thrilling novel by Andrew M. Semple today, and see how fiction mirrors some of these real-world challenges. Until next time, keep questioning what you see behind those flashy headlines. Sometimes the biggest stories are hidden in the details of corporate perks and stock charts.